Happy Monday. We're back for a start of yet another week of vapingness. There's a Marco. Marco's waving and smiling, I think. Yeah, all right. A full screen, Mark. He's doing the Charleston. Oh, good God.
Yes,
Marco,
welcome to Strictly Come Vaping.
And this week on Strictly Come Vaping, we've got... Well,
Dave Dillon doing the cha-cha-cha.
I'm not bloody doing the cha-cha-cha, thank you very much. If I'm going to be doing anything, it's either a Highland Rail or the Roomba. That's only because I've got lumbago. No. It's tapioca, I'm sorry. Never mind. It was a pudding of some sort.
Dear. Yes, there you go.
You've been derailed now, haven't you?
Yeah, throwing me that as with the lumbago.
Right, back on the track.
As if I could throw you if I had lumbago. Come on. How much do you weigh now?
I'm not saying how much I weigh now, but I'm a lot less than I was.
Yeah, I know, because I've got what you bloody lost.
Every time I come to your house, you're getting fatter and I'm getting thinner. What's all that about?
Happiness, mate. It's happiness.
It's osmosis. I'm just feeding you my fat osmosisly.
Hey, leave my video camera out of it.
Dave, any chance you can set the drums up quick and just do a boom boom tish?
No.
Ah, bugger. Right, anyway, on tonight's show. Marco, what have we got?
Well, we've got all sorts of stuff happening on tonight's show. We've got a little bit of VT from SoulOhm. We've got a bit of VT for me. Wearing the same shirt, I have to say, but I did record it today. And we've got some stuff from from DD up in Glasgow. In fact, I think you might have a little tiny 45-second VT, Mr. Matt.
Oh, right then. Here we go.
Coming up tonight on Vape Trolls TV. Dave Dawn's up to Glasgow to the School of Vape. We listen to what he said to all the vapors there. Matt Garish looks at the Ice Cube dripping tank. Marco looks back over his 4 years of vaping and does an impromptu juicy. Mark SoulOhm looks at the Reaper Plus tank by iJoy, and Dave Kitson has a little rant about his top tank. All this and more tonight on Vape Trolls TV. And Marco.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a real back row. He's
Yes.
not green screening anymore. Yeah, that was what's coming up. What you just saw there. So, right.
Yes,
news.
this is real. It's real. Look, I can touch it and everything.
You know what? You should.
But what about the set?
This is my office desk. This one is the one I work at during the day, and then the one in front of me is the one I work at when I'm not working.
Excuse me. I would thank you not to use language like that where there's a retired gentleman.
You know what you need to do.
Laptop. Yes.
Marco, what you need to
Yes.
do, you need to get Dave Dawn in your monitor behind you, right? And then Dave Dawn can get Dave Kidson in his monitor behind him. And then be like Inception.
What I can do is I can do that. I can put chat. There you go. Look, there's chat moving.
Wave to yourselves, chat. You can see yourselves now.
I can do that with green screen as well, though.
Yeah, it's not a green screen though.
Yeah, you see.
Right.
Yes, I'll put chat back so I can see it again now. There
Yeah,
we go.
handy that. While you're doing that, I'm
Yeah,
going to
it's
play
handy.
the news thing because we've got some news coming up.
News.
That was the news thing. That was newsworthy. Right, so tonight's story then, our featured story, is the Churn Mag feature, wasn't it? About New York rules that vaping is not smoking.
Oh yes.
Duh.
It was that one.
You forgot about it, didn't you?
No, I just haven't got the actual story up on my screen.
Right. Okay, everyone bear with me then.
No.
You got it, have you now?
It's Churn Mag, yes. New York court rules that vaping is not smoking. Well, there's something we did know. Yes. And what does it say? It says, I don't want to subscribe, thank you. Hold on. It's asking me to subscribe now. Click the button. Yes, it was bound to come down to a judge's ruling eventually. Well, we thought it probably would. But we didn't know it would happen this soon. In New York, a judge has just ruled that vaping is not smoking. and the two words cannot be used interchangeably. Well, that sounds pretty sensible, doesn't it?
It does. Pretty much common sense, really, which is not something you generally expect these days, but there we go. Common sense ain't that common.
No.
But it's legal.
Well, at the moment, I think they're working on banning it, though.
I'm sure there's going to be a round of appeals and then more appeals and then other appeals because we know what happens. This gets bogged down in so much red tape, and then someone will turn around and say, oh, yeah, we didn't mean that in the first place. It's still smoking.
It is. Right.
Or might have been too cynical.
I think you might be being less than optimistic. I think you might be being a bit pessimistic. The fact of the matter is, they keep on doing this. David Sweeney last week was explaining an awful lot about this on Thursday night, and apparently judges make the law in the States. So if the judges keep on going, actually, no, it's not smoking, it's vaping, dummy, then vaping is vaping, smoking is smoking, and never the twain shall meet. And it just needs enough of the courts to tell the people that, and that's the way it is. That's how the law gets interpreted. It's a weird kind of system. Very, very long-winded and extremely expensive. And exactly what we would get out of the federal EU were we to stay in. Leave.
Now, strange enough, I do touch on that later in my bit of ET, but I don't go as far as to say which way I'm going on it. But there you
go. I'm making no secret. Get out.
Get out, he says.
Wording edgeways. All joking aside, it's actually a nice news story to read for once, as opposed to the doom and gloom we often get. So that's nice. Right, we've also got a little bit of footage now of Dave Dawn giving a speech up in Glasgow. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, oh God, yeah.
Hello, Scotland! How are you all doing? Well, good. Great. Before I get into TPD stuff, I would like you, please, to put your hands together for Andy Morrison, and I'll tell you why I want you to give him a clap. During the course of today, we have seen people from Cancer Research UK, we have seen people from Stirling University, Marissa de Andre, we have seen people, we've had surgeons here who are looking to use e-cigs to help their patients recover more quickly. We've had stop smoking services who have learned about vapors and what vapors do. We have had academics from all kinds of spheres and kinds of walk learning how you as vapors vape, learning how you as vapors are real people, learning how you are going to be shaping the future of vaping here. And that's all down to this guy on my right hand side who brought them here for you to meet and to meet you. So give them and him a massive round of applause, please. I'm going to say this. You people here today do not know how much you have altered the future of vaping in Scotland. Give yourselves a big round of applause. You deserve it. Right. The Tobacco Products Directive. On May the 20th, it reaches implementation throughout the UK. Nothing will change on May the 20th. Not a blind bloody thing except for the rules on advertising. On May the 20th, all advertising in Scotland, at least, will stop. In the rest of the UK, there will be point of sale advertising, there'll be billboard advertising, that will carry on. But television advertising will disappear. Otherwise, you, as vapers, will see not a blind bit of difference. And the reason for that is that the UK government has decided that there will be what's known as a 12-month sell-through period. What that means in essence is, what you could buy on the 18th of May, you'll be able to buy on the 21st. And that will continue through until the 20th of May 2017. On the 20th of May 2017, that is when the shit hits the fan. That is when you will only be able to buy a 2 millilitre tank. That is when you will only be able to buy a 10 millilitre bottle of juice. And that juice can have a strength no higher than 20 milligrams per millilitre. That's the 20th of May 2017. This is sneaking it in like they did the smoking ban, which happened on the 1st of July 2007, when everybody was already outside anyway because it was a bloody gorgeous day. Had it been the 1st of January 2007, everybody would have been properly pissed off because it was pissing it down, clear cold, and everybody was chipping dogs off lampposts. Nobody wanted to go outside. That's what's happening this year on the 20th of May 2016. Nothing's going to change. Nobody will see a difference because you'll still be able to buy what you could buy. Does that mean that we sit back and go, oh, well, that's all right? No, we bloody don't. Because it's not all right. Because on the 20th of May 2017, a year later, when everybody's forgotten about it all, that's when the shutters come down. So we need to make our voices heard now. And as I said earlier on, there are 3 steps you can take. Step 1, go to www.nnalliance.org and sign up as a supporter. This is important. That gives us numbers, so that when we, Andy, myself, Sarah, Lorien and the rest of the New Nicotine Alliance trustees go and talk to people, we can say, look, all of these people are the people that we represent. We need your names and contact details there. That's the first thing. The second thing is, there's a whole list of position statements going up on the website, even as I speak. And these are how we feel as vapers about vaping and about the various different rules and regulations that are being applied. And that includes indoor vaping bans. Now, look around here and what can you see? You can see 100 and odd people, vapers and non-vapers, all enjoying themselves. Are you all happy people at the moment? Wouldn't it be fabulous if every pub throughout Scotland, England, Northern Ireland and Wales had happy people like this? Right. Once you've read all the position statements and seen how the words go, the third thing I want you to do is to go and see your political representatives, your councillors, your MSPs, your MPs, and tell them what you've read. Tell them why what we are seeing today is what we should be seeing in every pub throughout the land, where vapers can vape, where non-vapers can come and be with them and not be damaged. That's why I'm so proud of what you and Andy have done today, because there are people here from academia, from tobacco control, from stop smoking services that have all said, actually, this is quite nice. It's a lovely atmosphere. The people are lovely, and we are, aren't we? And everybody's happy, and they've all been happy, and that's what we need more people to see. That's what we need more people to be aware of. That is what your political representatives need to know. This should be the norm. This is what is normal. This is people being happy, and this is what the NNA is here to protect and promote. Are you with me? Will you sign up? Will you see your political representatives? Brilliant! Thank you very much for your time, and I hope the rest of the night goes as well as it has done so far. Vape on, vape hard, and don't let the bastards grind you down!
Thanks a lot, big round of applause here for Keith Dorr and Andy Morrison.
There we are. That was Dave giving what appeared to be quite an impassioned speech. You seem to be getting quite into that, Dave.
Yes, my passion runs away with me sometimes. But I've got to say, you know, up there, it's a receptive audience. I mean, what you don't see from that little bit of filming is the number of what I've classed as externals that were there. I wonder how many people are aware of Marissa de Andrade. Does that mean anything to you two boys?
I'm ashamed to say
ring
no.
a bell.
Gerard Hastings' protege.
Ah,
Okay.
She was there, and she had her eyes opened. Andy Morrison spent a lot of time getting a lot of people there. I'm going to go into it in more detail on Thursday, but the stop smoking services for the Glasgow area were there. There was a young lady from King's College, London, up there conducting a survey on people's attitudes to vaping. And this was the bit, nobody knew this until they'd filled the survey, and then you got paid a fiver for doing it, which was nice. So there was an awful lot of £5 notes came in the NNA's direction. We spoke to an awful lot of people on the NNA stand. Who else was there? Christopher Russell, who you may well remember, Nicotine Surveys, he was there. Cancer Research UK, two of the researchers from Cancer Research UK, they've never been smokers, and they both tried vaping, and they both liked it. You will see their faces, but you won't see them vaping, and I'm not going to give you their names in case it gets them into trouble. But suffice it to say, one of the girls, she said, "Can I have a go?" Then I said, yeah. So I gave her that, like you do, K-Box 200, right? And she just went, "What do I do?" I said, "Press the button and suck." So she's, "Oh," she says, "I could get used to that." I thought, "Oh, Gideon." Apparently, if people don't know, they lung it immediately. Thank God it wasn't 54 milligram. That's all I'm going to say.
You're flat on the floor.
Yeah, I'll go through it in more detail on Thursday. I've been putting the video together with some help from VB, from Very Boring, who actually shot the footage that you've just seen. And yeah, you'll get a feel for it. I've got to say, if you have the wherewithal and you can get to Glasgow School of Vape 4, go. It's such a fabulous welcome. And trust me, the Scots are not tight. Very, very generous. 451 quid the auction raised. That, again, was yours truly making his mouth go and flogging off stuff that had been donated by the vendors that were there. So, yes, absolutely fabulous. And yes, people were paying attention to what I said. And I'll find out from Andy Morrison later on in the week how many more folks have signed up as a result of my mouth running off at the cuff as it does on, what can I say?
Nice. Well, we look forward to more updates on Thursday on that. So, in the meantime, we got some footage now from the APPG. Let's have a quick look at that.
Not often until a piece of legislation takes effect that people absolutely become aware of it, but as we get closer to the implementation, people become more aware, and that's certainly what's happening in respect of the Tobacco Products Directive, which of course started in Europe 2 or 3 years ago, and we have lobbied and made the case in Europe, but regrettably we haven't been successful. So we will have the legislation coming forward, but we have done what we can, and we now understand the legislation. It's now it takes effect. It'll be for us to see whether the consequences are what people are concerned they might be, and to then continue to lobby government to effect some change.
I think it has to. I think the TPD in its strictest interpretations causes such problems for the industry to keep on the market it's the products that consumers want. That for the government not to take a light touch means that this industry's got real problems, and sadly the consumer loses out big time.
I do. I think at the minute it's one of the most important things that can happen. I think the last 18 months have seen a lot of undermining of e-cigarettes in the media, with a lot of very poor quality studies, and I think smokers have completely lost confidence in the concept of harm reduction and using an e-cigarette to kind of, even if slowly, transition away from smoking. And as much as other vapers can do a lot of work, I think public health groups like Public Health England and the various faculties of public health and the NGOs need to be being very clear on the fact that nicotine is not the problem. Nicotine itself is not really much of a concern. The danger comes from combusting tobacco. I mean, it's a very simple principle.
And there's no doubt that this is going to be the smoking cessation revolution, and Department of Health needs to get behind it. I mean, there is endorsement from the Department of Health and, importantly, from Public Health England. I mean, if nothing else, the statement from Public Health England that e-cigarettes are 95% or more less risky than smoking is extremely important. The public need to know that message.
Well, I think that was quite significant, and you know, I got involved in e-cigarettes because there's a member of my team who's been using e-cigarettes for many years and was worried about the impact on his ability to continue to enjoy e-cigarettes and get his nicotine that way rather than switching back to tobacco. That caused me to get involved. You know, the Public Health England report that came out towards the end of last year, I think, was a real turning point, and I wanted the Prime Minister to acknowledge that report, which he did in his answer to me, and he acknowledged how effective e-cigarettes have been with many people in switching from tobacco, and of course getting the health benefit that goes hand in hand with that.
Well, there's lots of concerns about how it was implemented, but in terms of impact, I think a lot of people still don't know what's coming. It's a big surprise for most vapers. There's only a small group of vapers who know what's going on and were part of the process and aware of the process. Most smokers don't realise, and certainly most vapers don't realise, and they're going to realise when their vape shops aren't there anymore, or they suddenly can't buy their e-liquid, or suddenly the price has increased, or whatever it is. And all of those huge changes are going to put the smoker or the new vaper in the position of making a decision whether they carry on vaping, which has now become harder to do, or take the easy option and go back to smoking.
So we know that 90% of the products or thereabouts that are currently on the market get taken off through a strict interpretation of the TPD. And the reality is that if we end up in that situation, we're into a scenario where we simply don't know whether e-cigarettes can continue to have the public health benefits that we've seen so profoundly over the last several years.
I think the biggest issue is the barrier that it will create for new people looking to switch. The fact that the devices are not going to create the same kind of satisfaction. The fact that the e-liquids are not going to be strong enough for someone who is just moving away from a serious smoking habit. If you're smoking 40 fags a day, going on to an 18 or 20 milligram just won't satisfy your cravings potentially. And therefore that person's not going to feel the benefit, and they're not going to have that experience that we've all had of moving through the upgrades of equipment and down the nicotine strengths and getting to a point where cigarettes are a thing of the past.
The worst thing about this point in time is uncertainty. The one thing that we do know is so far there are no problems with all the things that were proposed to be problematic with respect to toxicity of nicotine, with respect to renormalising smoking, with respect to gateway effects of children coming in through e-cigarettes. All of the evidence taken in aggregate shows overwhelmingly that these things are not happening.
I think it's going to compound a lot of fears. People are going to see it as a way of justifying everything they've heard in the media. That there's something inherently wrong with e-cigarettes, and so that they need some kind of heavy and burdensome regulation in order to make them safe for the end user. I think it's going to scare a lot of people off. I think a lot of people are going to put down what they've got because they can no longer use it, because they can't refill it, or they can't get the support anymore, and they're going to go back to smoking. And I think it's going to mean a lot of smokers don't transition at all.
It's basically unnecessary. We could achieve what's in the TPD by other means, through product standards, through codes of advertising practice and so on.
We know there's something like 2.6 million vapers now, and that's a lot of people with a lot of influence. And what we really need those vapers to do is to get in touch with their local members of parliament to make sure they know what the impact of this TPD coming forward in May is likely to be, and then make sure that MPs are aware of what's happening. And when MPs want to know more, we've set up, and we've been running now for about 18 months, the all-party parliamentary group. And we can inform and invite those MPs along to our meetings, and we really do want to see more representation from MPs, but it will be for vapers themselves, who are a strong and active and vocal group of people, to get that message across to their MPs to take very seriously the legislation that's coming down the line.
And there we go. That was the video there from the APPG. Now, I'm ashamed to say I've not actually had the time myself to actually sit and watch that yet, so I don't particularly really know what goes on in there. Dave, I think you have an idea, as always.
Of what the APPG is?
Well, of what they actually said in that particular video.
Well, it's the whole notion about the APPG is set up to inform parliamentarians about e-cigs, because it's the all-party parliamentary group on e-cigs, which is distinct from the all-party parliamentary group on smoking and health. That one's curated by Ash. So it goes into all the plain packs and all of the other drubbings that you just don't want to get involved with, because frankly it's rubbish. The APPG on electronic cigarettes or e-cigs only considers e-cigs, doesn't look at anything else. And so the idea is that it will attract more and more and more MPs as time goes on. Of course, it's a good idea to attract MPs because the information that's given over there, as you will have noticed, there's a lot of NNA people get there. Now, I missed out on the last one. I couldn't make it. But as you saw, Lorian was there. Sarah was there, I think. Jerry was there speaking. Some of you will have seen the slides and what have you. And yes, we, as an organisation, the NNA gets to inform parliamentarians, MPs and their researchers on what our position is on e-cigs and so on and so on and so forth. We get to debunk the science. So, you know, the likes of Farsalinos and others get involved. The thing is, though, we need more MPs and or their researchers going, because it's true to say that the majority of MPs don't really know an awful lot about e-cigs. I nearly said they don't really know an awful lot about anything. And in actual fact, that's true. They can't be expected to. They've got to do the research. And the easiest way for them to be properly researched and properly informed is for them or their researchers to go to the all-party parliamentary group on e-cigs. So next time you're speaking to your MP, because you all go to the surgeries, don't you, then mention the all-party parliamentary group on e-cigs, headed up by Mark Pawsey, suggest they go along and learn something. And basically, that's kind of saying that's the information that came out in the APPG that you've seen kind of done on the street, basically because we can't film in Parliament. They won't allow it unless they're televising it, in which case they still won't let us, the public, the people that pay them, the folks that actually foot the bill for everything that goes on, the taxpayers, us, you and me. Over.
There we go. Now, from one rant to another. That was the end of the news, by the way. That was quite a long news segment, wasn't it? And the news there just fell flat. Either that or Dave's vaping some sort of experimental broccoli juice.
Again,
don't even go there.
Right, Dave Kitson has had more experiences now with his top tank. Let's watch.
Right, I'm going to have a little moan here. You will have seen me on Vapor Trails TV on Monday, on the 15th of February, talking about the top tank. It was this top tank. I liked it. I still like it. It's good. You may recall that I complained about the new style coil that came pre-fitted in it. Couldn't get it to work on whatever device I put it on. I got an atomizer short. So what I actually did, I went back to the original square coils like this one, and then it worked fine. Well, I ordered another top tank, a black one. It's here, it's in bits at the moment. Here's the base of it, the top's full of juice. And I thought, well, I want to try these new cylindrical coils. So I did. And the first thing I noticed is that it's actually metering if I use my little coil master meter thing or put it on any mod at 0.25 ohms, even though it's got 0.15 ohms stamped on it. I just cannot get the darn thing to perform. So I've given up on it, basically. I've chucked it out, it's over here. It's going in the bin in a minute. But these cylindrical ones, that's 2 out of 2 have been a total fail for me so far. So, sod it. I'm going to stick with the square ones. And as I was just thinking, right, well, okay. I was deciding whether to order square or round the cylindrical ones, because I need to order some more coils. And, oh, the little O-ring has stayed on there from the last coil. Well, it's made my mind up for me. So I think 2 out of 2, they can stick them, those cylindrical ones, frankly. So I'm going to prime this. I'll probably do a quick cut. Okay, so that's got the old style square 0.15 OCC coil in there. Oh, 0.16 ohms it says. That's close enough. So I don't know what the deal is with those cylindrical ones. I don't feel inclined to buy a packet of them to try based on the 100% failure rate I've seen so far. So I think for me personally, what I will be doing is using the top tanks, but with the old style square coils. Crap. Good. Bye.
He's not having a lot of luck, that Mr. Kitson, is he? First he's got a leaky Rafale, and now he's got a couple of calls for his top tank that ain't working.
Should have got a TFV4.
No.
Although you'll see my bit of ET later, I had an issue with this last week, but I think that was my fault.
Have you all been having issues with your TFV4?
Ah, I said it.
Call TFV4
outline now.
Oh, dear me, call TFV outline now on 0898 084 5673. They'll be charged £40 an hour, and Mark will tell you not to be so bloody daft.
I don't know what you're drinking or vaping on, Dave, but stop it immediately.
Don't be daft.
He's now got the experimental Bloody Mary juice.
Who has?
You has.
Apparently. I've already done that.
Ah, there we are. Yeah, so I've still got my first cylindrical coil in this thing, in my top tank, and it's still working. So I don't know, he's not having a lot of luck.
That's because you're Welsh.
Am I? Oh yes, yeah, born and bred. I forget. I am born and bred Welsh.
Actually, from what I can gather, the first output of the cylindrical coils was not particularly good, but later instances thereof apparently are better.
Oh.
So I tell you what, we need to set ourselves a little challenge. When we get to Vapor Expo in Brummagem, we need to go around and blag a cylindrical coil from anybody that's prepared to let us blag one from them, and go back to Mr. Kitson and make him try them all and see how he gets on with them, see whether he can get ones that work. That'd be a good thing to do. That's a good challenge for Dave. And the good byproduct of it is he'll end up with 1 million cylindrical coils.
And we'll get to see video of him buried under many coils. That could be quite
He's not going to complain at that if they all work. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, but if none of them work, can you imagine it? Can you?
Oh, that's 2 shows worth of rant. That'll be great. We won't need to film anything for a month. That'd be good, that. I do like it when Dave comes up against stuff that doesn't... See, here's the thing. Keith, that's normally with me on a Thursday night, Keith Herbert, he's the man in the street. If something doesn't work, he'll find out how to put it right. But if the instructions do, he's fine. Dave, I think, is brilliant. He'd make a hell of a beta tester for anything. Because if it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, he's not scared to say so. I really like that. I absolutely love that. You know, and I mean, he's very polite in the videos because we've heard him live.
Yes.
This is supposed to be 0.15 ohms. It's 15 ohms. It's a piece of shit. And off he goes. It's great. You know how you've got things you like about people or reasons that you like them. And that's one of the reasons I like Dave Kitson so much, because he just doesn't hold back. He says it as he sees it, and he doesn't suffer lies gladly. It's brilliant.
It is. One day we might even get some uncut footage. You never know.
Never know.
Right. Now here's a reviewer then that was supposed to be shown on Thursday, and he's very polite but he does speak his mind and he's very honest. Let's watch Mr. SoulOhm.
Hi and welcome to SoulOhm. Today we're going to look at this little bad boy. It is the Reaper Plus by iJoy. I'm going to have a quick toke, go down on the table and have a look. And this is the box the Reaper Plus tank comes in. Little plastic case there. Okay, and at the back you've got a lot of information regarding what you've got inside, etc. You've got your scratch and sniff and all that good stuff there. Okay, let's have a look inside. Inside, obviously, you get your tank. You get a spare tank, you get a stainless steel coil, which is a 0.3 ohm, and also you get an RBA deck. Underneath here, you get a box of goodies. We get a few O-rings, an Allen key, a couple of coils, and you get some grub screws. Underneath that, you get some cotton as well. All good stuff. And then on the side there, it just shows you how to fill the tank itself. Okay, so let's have a look at the tank. In fact, what we'll do first, we'll have a look at the coils. Just show you these coils first. This is the stainless steel coil, which is a 0.3 ohm. If we can zoom in there, there we go. Quite large juice holes and quite large air holes there. There you go. That's the stainless steel version, and we also get a RBA version. And I've been using this one. It's quite nice. It's a velocity style deck. They are small holes, I must admit, but I've been getting 24 gauge in there, so it's been alright. There isn't a great amount of room in there, but you can build quite decently in there. And that's the RBA section. Okay. As you can see, it is the screwing. It's okay, but you have to play with it a little bit. Okay, here's the tank itself. Right, the tank measuring from here to here is 49.4 millimeters, and it is 22.6 in diameter. Has a metal drip tip, which is a press fit drip tip. I'll just show you there. So you've got Delrin on the inside and metal on the outside. At the top here, you've got top airflow control. Hopefully you can see that, and that just turns on and off. Been using that a little bit, must admit, and it's not been reducing the flavour, which quite a lot of them do. Inside here's your barrel. The barrel holds, let me remember this now, it holds exactly 3.8 millimeters of juice. Hopefully you can just see the side there. It has juice flow control, and that's just a case of turning. You can turn it, it'll be alright. There you go. That just opens there and closes, if you can just see that hole there. And that's obviously repeated all the way around. Then further down we've got your airflow control, which is repeated on both sides, and that just closes off and closes back on. Right, we'll take the tank apart and I'll show you the individual parts. I'll take the first section off. This is the top section. Now with the airflow, it's quite a clever little device how it does this one. The airflow comes in from here, and actually if you look underneath here, you've got an inner barrel and an outer barrel, and the actual air actually goes through the in between the inner and outer barrel and actually goes onto your coils, which is quite a clever design. We have nice O-rings. That's your top section. Just put that to the side. We have your glass tube. Then we have this section, which is your airflow, your juice flow section. Just take that off there. And this is your actual, how you control your juice flow. So on the inside. Obviously, to put these back together, just put your glass tube on there, and this just, the top end just screws back in. And that's it. Really nice. To fill it up, you just pull this section out here, and you have your filling hole there. I'll show you that in a second. We'll fill this and prime the coil as well. So that's that. Underneath, obviously, this is your pre-installed coil, which is, I believe, a 0.4 ohm coil. We'll just double check that. That just unscrews. Come on, Mr. Focus. There you go. Yeah, that's your 4 point. Quite chunky coils, these. Okay, and this is your base section. flow control there, and your 5-step pin. And easy to put this back together, just screw this in. And as like any new coil, just slightly prime the coil, a bit juiced around the sides, and then I normally just dribble a bit on each hole. Can be a bit messy, but it's easily cleanable. And then obviously you screw this in to your deck there. Right, once that's tight in, you want to make sure that your juice flow is closed. So we close that off first. And on the sides here, it does say, I don't know if you can see that, you've got to open and close. You just twist the barrel. Making sure, obviously, when you are filling the tank, that they are closed. Just here you've got a little arrow, and what you do is pull this section up. And there you have your juice. Place to fill it. Not the easiest and can be messy. You're better off having unicorn type, these type of filling tips or needle points, because obviously if you're going to use a bottle dripper, it does really get messy. So like I said, making sure that your juice flow, the bottom there, is closed off. You just fill it up. And we got it all sided. So as you can see, it can be a bit messy at times. Just wipe that off, and obviously close that up. Now when you are closing it, if you've noticed there, the rubber grommet that's inside can actually pull out a little bit, so you just have to be a little bit careful when you're pushing back in. But besides that, I've had no other problems. Okay, give this a bit of a wipe. Stick the drip tip back on and open it up. There you go. And that is the Reaper Plus. Okay, we're going to go back up top. We'll give it a vape and I'll tell you what I think. Okie doke. Okay, so that was the up and closey of the Reaper Plus tank by iJoy. So what do I think of it? It's not a bad tank, I must admit. The flavour, it's okay. It's not the greatest of flavours for a stock coil. The airflow, yeah, that's brilliant. I really do like the airflow. Plenty of that. The top airflow, quite impressed with that, because normally they kind of mute the flavour, but this one actually doesn't. I was quite surprised. The filling aspect, I'd rather one that you took off and squirted your juice in and screwed it back on. This side one gets really messy, and the O-ring that protects it, that can come loose. I've often actually trapped the O-ring itself when pushing it back in, so it's not the greatest of design. The juice control, that's not bad. I think that's a good idea. The tank itself, which is a 3.8mm tank, yeah, it's not bad, but you are going to fill this up. It does go through juice quite quickly. All round, for a SoulOhm tank, yeah, it's not bad. Quite impressed with the rebuildable deck. It is a little bit small, but with it having that velocity style deck, I've put in the smallest, or should I say the biggest wire I've got in there is 24 gauge. I don't think you'd get any more. You won't be able to put any Claptons or anything like that. It's just a box standard micro coil you'd be able to put in there. But besides that, the stock coils, yeah, they're not bad. I would say average flavour. Okay, so that was the Reaper Plus by iJoy. Thanks ever so much for watching. Do really appreciate it. And as always, happy vaping.
There we go. That was Mark taking a look at the Reaper. Apparently he's not scared of it, or he does not fear it.
Don't fear the Reaper.
I knew he was going to sing.
Yes. There wasn't at all a lead into that.
No, not even slightly.
No.
Not even. Well, hey.
It doesn't take that much encouragement.
Oh, but come on though, Marco. At least I'm not drinking bloody electrolyte juice.
Oh well, this is a lovely blend, I have to say. It's got lovely ice in it, and it's so clear as well, and it really helps my dehydration.
Yeah, but the point about it is, I can see you've still got dry knuckles.
That's because they drag on the floor because my arms are so long. No, this is just plain old simple diet lemonade with ice from a supermarket. Yes.
Have you got?
There's no branding on there, obviously.
Have you got an affiliate code for it?
I haven't, but if you go, it's 42 pence for 2 litres. What can I say? It's cracking stuff.
Yes, but where's your affiliate code, man? You'll not make any money like that.
Oh, well, different mind, man.
See, thirsty for it. That's all I'm saying. My knuckles are perfectly good. And I don't even know what a bloody Charlie horse is, do you?
You know what you're hanging washing on?
No idea. What, did you say your knob?
Washing.
I was talking to Matt. I thought he said your knob.
Oh, knobs. Well, now you mentioned knobs. When I find my knob is lacking in luster, I use Brasso.
You will see later that I am sucking on some milfs milk.
That's half a pint you owe me.
There you go. Were you going to say something, Mr. Dave Dawn?
I don't know if he can.
Was that? You've just taken me aback. Sucking on your milf's milk.
Well, it was you that gave me the milf's milk, if you remember quite rightly.
Yeah, I do. I remember it. I remember it like it was a week ago.
Yes, it was. That was 2 weeks ago, actually.
2 weeks ago, yeah. How are you getting on with it? Left leg first, probably.
You will see in my piece of VT, which is coming up very shortly, because I do talk about the milf's milk. I also talk about the muffin man, also at your house, and purchased. So I do a little juicy section at the end of my VT, which is coming up very shortly.
Yes. Not next. Next is me.
Yes, next is Matt, and he's going to talk about something. Ooh, isn't it something to do with a rapper?
A rapper?
Yeah. Isn't it kind of Ice Cube or something?
Oh, not the sort you get around.
His name is Matt, and he's got a cat, and he's sitting there stroking his pussy, and he's talking to Lal because she's a good gal, and she really ain't that fussy.
Oh,
play the VT. Play the VT.
Someone kill me. I can't find the button now.
Oh my God.
Right, okay, VC coming up now. Hello. Right. Good evening. You've seen me do a lot of tank reviews recently because they're kind of what's going at the moment. But I've actually, for a change of pace, I've got my hands on the dripper. This is the Ice Cube from Wafoto. Yeah, interesting little thing. It's all glass and see-through and stuff. But let's go and look at it. You know how it goes now, don't you? The standard vape review format. We do the introduction, we go down low, then we come back up and I vape stuff. So there we go. Cinema. This then would be the Ice Cube. But before we pull this apart, you'll notice I've already wicked and coiled it. It's the box. You know, we've got to do the box, haven't we? It's the rule. It's the law. So you can see there, Ice 3 or Ice Cubed. So there we go. In the box we get a stiff slidey lid action. We get this little plasticky I don't know if that's a sticker or what it is, but yeah, stuff. We get top cap with sleeve, 510 drip tip and adapter, deck, broad cap, and the photo thingamajig on the back there. We get a baggie of, well, O-rings of various colours. We get some screws. Hang on, you can see those there. The screws. We get a little filtery thing. Yeah, lots of O-rings actually on this. A tiny one there, look. He says, I can see it, you can't. Little tiny one there. We get the I presume this is the 510 drip tip adapter. I've not actually worried too much about it. We'll have a look at that in a second. Does it describe as an adapter? You know, my memory's getting worse these days. 510 drip tip and adapter. Yeah, there we go. So, hang on, let's have a quick look. Does that actually just pop out of that? It does. It's very stiff. Yeah, there we are. So that's the drip tip adapter. That's the drip tip. Okay, now we know. Oh, look, and it's chamfered in the bottom there. So, oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, you can see how much use I've put that to. So, all to one side then. Oh, you also get an Allen key, which I've misplaced because it's an Allen key and I get lots of Allen keys. But there we go. Right, so here is the default configuration we have here on the bottom. Let's start on the bottom. We have an adjustable 510 thingamajiggy. We have a little legend saying ice cubed. We have the Wafoto. Is it Wafoto or Wafo? I don't know. And I presume it's either a serial number or a model number. I don't know. Right, so let's now have a look at the top. Here is the, we'll call it a chuff cap, shall we? You know, this will unscrew from here, which will allow you access to this spit filter, which you can replace with the spare one included. So you can screw this 510 drip tip adapter on top if you so wish. I do not wish to. I am going to stick with this. On the bottom there we have some O-rings, or an O-ring shall we say, and here we have the airflow intake. This is, for airflow purposes, a top device. No, it doesn't get airflow from the bottom like a lot of drippers, or from the side, you know, on the chamber. It gets it from the top. And here we can see one airflow hole slot thing, and there we can see another one. Now, to the best I can work out, and I'm pretty damn certain on this, this is not at all adjustable. Your airflow is your airflow. That's what you've got. You ain't sealing one side off, so have single coil. Well, I suppose it really matters. But you're not decreasing your airflow in any way. You have your airflow and you will enjoy your airflow. That's it. So, that's to one side. Here we have the tank section. Just trying to get this off, hang on. Right, let's put that out of the way. This is glass, and you get one of them. And if you drop this and break it, you are, well, you're SOL really, aren't you? So there we go. As you can see, cylindrical inside, and kind of cubish on the outside. There we are, that's the tank section bit. And here is the bottom deck. Now, I've already gone ahead and coiled and wicked this. That one's gone a bit wonky. Whatever. I don't really care. It's going to work okay. This uses the velocity post design. You know, I honestly can't remember if I have reviewed before the velocity dripper. I do have one somewhere. And I'm quite fond of it. I like building on it. It's very simple. What you essentially have is, and I know and I appreciate it's obscured by the cotton, you can see the top holes. There are another two holes further down. And on the side of these posts you have two grub screws, which you use your Allen key to tighten and slacken as you require. What you do is you wrap your coil, and what I always do is I have one leg going on the top one and the other leg going on the bottom one and the opposing post. That way you kind of know when you wind a coil, you've always got them. They're always, you know. Well, hang on. Let's just get a bit of wire. Here's a bit of wire. When you wind a coil, yeah, and this is quick and dirty. Yeah, well, so 1 and 2. Whatever. When you wind your coil, you know, they're not the same plane of existence, are they? You've got one higher than the other or one lower than the other, whatever you like. So what this allows you to do is, so I could screw this one into the higher post on the right and this one into the lower post on the left, yeah? Which then means, in theory, that your coils don't do what that's done. But that's just me, right? You've got a dripping well of sorts, but it's not exactly deep, although that's kind of less of an issue because of the nature of this. Because there is no airflow at the bottom or at the side, you can fill your tank up a little bit more. Well, I say tank, is not a tank, is it? Dripper. You can fill it up a little bit more, though you don't want to be going up and covering the coils in e-liquid because that will be silly. So there we go. Let's have a quick look what it's like with the 510 drip tip adapter and included tip on, shall we, just to see. There we go. And it's quite a pleasing hexagonal shape there. I quite like the look of this, to be honest. It's a different looking type of dripper, which is kind of what drew me to this. Now, a couple of things actually before we go back to me juicing this thing up and vaping it. The O-ring seal, especially on the top one, isn't particularly tight, so these come off kilter quite easily. I mean, it's not a massive problem, but if you're kind of OCD and you know, particular about how your things line up, these do come off quite easily. As we've seen, we can change the colour of the O-rings we use here, so we can use the blue or the red ones. I've kept it with the, well, I'll say white, but translucent. Because, well, whatever. So, as I mentioned already, this is kind of designed for a dual coil setup. You could put a single coil in because of the nature of the airflow. It doesn't really matter too much, you know. Now, one thing to bear in mind is you've got these airflows here. So it's probably these airflow slots. This is where the air will come from the coil. So your vapor will come in, and your air will go in here, and it all combines and makes lovely vaporness. So you kind of want those to be directly above your coils, so like that, you know. As you can see there's the coil and there's the slot. So yeah, it's a little bit loose. I mean, it comes off fairly easily, but it's not too easy. It's not really something I've had a problem with. It does make dripping quite nice, because of course you can't really drip through this gauze because that's kind of gets in the way. So you need to just pop this off when you're dripping onto your coils there. So there we go. Let's pop this back on. I'll juice her up and we'll have a little vape and chat about it. Here we go then. This would be the ice cube, all wicked up and good to go. Producer's all right, doesn't it? Here's the thing, you don't, and you'll notice, I'm not taking a particularly long draw on this because you kind of really don't need to. Now, before I explain that, let's mention the fact that I've got 90% VG liquid in this. It is coiled up with Ni200 wire. It is running at 80 watts at 570 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the reason you don't need to take a massive draw on this is because the way the coils are positioned. They are directly below the, I really don't know what to call them. It's not air intake because that's at the side. We'll call it the vapor holes. There we are, the vapor holes. Let's try and coin a new phrase here. So the vapor holes are directly above the coils, and there's only a couple of mil between the coil and the vapor hole. Yeah, so you kind of really don't need to actually inhale on this an awful lot at all. It's a very easy draw. As I mentioned, you cannot adjust the airflow on this at all, so this is going to put some of you guys off. You know, there is no mouth to lung with this at all. You are a direct lung inhaling on this, and that's your lot. You know, which is kind of the norm with drippers these days. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tip her up a little bit, top her up even. I don't need an awful lot, you know. As you can see, nice and simple to fill up. Pop that on there. You know, and the bonus of this is the fact that you can quite easily see if your coils are going dry, because you can see straight into the tank there. I'll say tank, chamber. What I want to do actually, I want to take this off because I've not tried the 510 adapter on this at all. So I just want to give that a go. There we go. I mean, that looks quite smart on there, I think. Yeah, that it goes down a little bit more though, Matt. Right. That's intensified my flavour a little bit, to be honest. It has restricted the airflow some. Not by much, but it has. And, you know, I mentioned in a close-up about the whole thing about it coming out of alignment quite easily. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. You know what? I prefer it with this tip. I do. Yeah. Now you don't get these spit back guard thing. The you know, we've all experienced spitting coils now, haven't we? That seems to work quite nicely. It doesn't seem to impede airflow that much. At least I'm getting good airflow from it. Yeah, but I'm not getting any juice spat in my mouth from the coils or anything, so it seems to be doing its job. Let's do a proper jobby on this. Let's see what it can actually do. Yep, that'll do. So, flavour-wise, I'm quite happy with that. I'll tell you what, I'm getting quite a lot of nick off it. Whew, it does seem to intensify it quite a lot. This is my normal mix of 6mg. And to be honest, I think I could do with dropping down a little bit on this to maybe 3. Yeah, I don't often get a nick hit from atomizers. Not that much, but this I'm really getting the nick. Yeah. So let's talk price. What did I pay for this? I paid 30 quid or 29.99 British pounds, plus delivery on top. If you search online, you'll find them. I got mine from, where did I get mine from? Grey Haze, I think I did. Tell a lie, it wasn't 29.99, it was 26.99. Yeah, another item I ordered was 29.99. So yeah, I was quite, you know, taken by the look of it. I thought it's different. Give it a go. And I think for the first time ever, you're going to see me spinning out on nick here. It's, yeah, it's quite potent. So if you're looking for something for a quick nick, this is your job here. Yeah, I like it. The flavour is good. Oh, I must actually mention as well the actual dimensions of this. I just got the calipers on it before I shot this part, and it is actually 21mm from there to there and there to there, so 21mm cubed. It is designed pretty much for a box mod. It probably looked quite silly on a tube, but let's have a look. What have I got kicking around? Semovar, there we are. It's not a battery in it or anything, but yeah, it's not designed for a tube, but it doesn't look terrible. It's okay. You know, it's an interesting look. I think you can probably get, well, you can get cube mods. I used to have one called the Cube. It was by Cyan Mods, actually. Long since out of production, but you know, you might better find one somewhere on Classies or something. But yeah, there we go. So one more vape before I spin out and disappear completely. Yeah, no, it's not a new core. Yeah, I like that. It produces very well. Quite an efficient atomizer, actually. So there we go. There we go. I've never seen a tank ever concoct so many ways to spell orifice in chat.
Orifice.
Yeah.
Did you mention flange? I'm not quite sure if you did.
I don't think flange was mentioned in that video, actually. I'm
Oh,
sure.
God, he said flange! I like the word flange. It's almost as good as orifice.
You, well, you've got to have an orifice in order to have a flange, haven't you? If there's no orifice, you don't need a flange. That would be a grommet.
Oh, God.
For the benefit of those watching, I have no bloody idea.
Dear viewers, you only put up with him for a short time. We have him the whole show.
What?
Dear me. Tears streaming down my face. Yes, we do chat when the VTs are playing out about all sorts. If only you could hear the background noise.
We do often wonder about doing the show the other way around sometimes. We won't show you the VT, but we'll just show you the bits we talk over the VT. That would be interesting.
Yeah, wouldn't last very long. We get taken off air.
There is no quicker way to get taken off air. And apparently, Dutch vapors having problems getting pregnant. Try the other hole.
Yes, I would recommend. Try the other whole tablets. And if you take them with this lovely electrolyte flavored water, it's even better. Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
Yes, moving swiftly on. Very quickly.
Please do.
Marco, have you been playing with your milfs milk?
Yes, I have been playing with my milfs milk, and you will see that in this coming bit of VT, what I recorded earlier. I was going to do this last week when I was in the land of the Scot, but I explained why I didn't do that in this VT, which is rolling nowish. Hello, it is I, and this week I'm going to talk about my vaping journey, because last Thursday at 9:30 at night marked my 4-year anniversary of quitting lit tobacco and using these. Yes, and becoming a vapor. And it seems so long ago in one sense, but in the other, it seems like only yesterday. It is quite strange, I have to say. And what a journey it's been, because when I started, I bought myself a little Riva 901 kit from Liberty Flights. It came with some juice, but I decided I was going to start mixing juice as well. So I bought some nicotine and some VG, some flavours, and some little bottles, and I thought I'd mix some of my own. The capacity on the Riva 901 was not huge. I think it was about 2 mil. And you got the little plastic container. Now I've got everything I've ever owned, with the exception of 2 devices, here in this office. It's all boxed away somewhere. I've kept everything though, because you never know when you want to come back to it and have a look. But it's so well hidden. I didn't bring everything out to do this bit of VT. But yes, a little plastic cartridge that you filled with your e-liquid, and then you pushed on to a little spike, which then fed the atomizer, which you could then replace. Came with 2 batteries and a charger. And although it was okay, I mean, it stopped me from going back to using lit tobacco. But the following week, I decided to purchase a lava tube, an original black lava tube with a tiny little screen on it. Just variable voltage with an 18650 battery. So I got that and a couple of batteries and a charger. And I got some Bogue Cartos, black ones, which held a little bit more liquid, and they were reasonably easy to do. You could either use the condom method, where you filled the little silicone condom that it came on the end, filled that with liquid and pushed it in, which soaked it in, or you could just drip it into it. And that worked fine for a while. But then I decided I needed more liquid. I was getting dry hits, as you do with a Carto. So I got a tank, and I forget which one it was. But I went onto a list very early on as well for Clockworks RTA. I think I was only vaping for 3 or 4 weeks, and I went onto a list for an RTA, which was very nice. On the Saturday it arrived, and on the Sunday I was using some banana liquid that I made up. Banana is not great in polycarbonate. Thank goodness for Pyrex and quartz tanks. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, I cracked the tank and had to get a new tank. And Clockworks was very good because he sent me a new tank, FOC, which was very kind of him. But then came things like the Vivinova, the Bianchi, iMist, and so on and so forth. Different CE4, CE3, CE2, CE5s, all the different connotations of the Ego style ATI, with obviously the polycarbonate tanks. So I would buy spare tanks. I then started to re-wick those, instead of buying the pre-made coils. And with the Vivinova, you would have seen on last week's show Matt doing a retro wicking of a Vivinova, and he did that in kind of homage to myself, because after seeing me do it on my YouTube channel that I had, which I still have, it's still out there, and people still look at the videos. I get some strange comments sometimes because new people are looking at really old videos from 4 years ago and they can't believe how much things have changed. But my goodness, they've changed just immeasurably, and it's going to keep going. It's just like IT, it's just like electronics. Every day things double in size and capacity and half in size. That's a weird thing. But what you're finding is things are getting bigger, not smaller, with mods. They're using more batteries, more power. But anyway, let's get back to my little story. So by about August, which was Vape Fest time, I'd been looking at forums. I'd found Vape Trolls TV, and I started watching that. And then I went to Vape Fest in Tamworth, Vape Fest 2012, and I met Dave Kitson and Dougie, who was around in them days. And Dave invited me to become part of Vape Trolls TV, which I thought was very nice. So that's what I did in the October. So from October 2012, that's when he started seeing me on Vape Trolls TV. So that's nearly 4 years. Hundreds of shows, God knows how many bits of VT, and hours and hours and hours of editing and research, and finding the news stories and all that good stuff. And I have to say, it is most gratifying to be able to pass on what we pick up as vapors. It would be so nice if we could reach more people, more smokers who want to make the switch. Obviously, we've got the TPD to deal with, and we've still got time. Yes, it comes into effect in May, but we've got that year still, and who knows what's going to happen in Europe. That's the other consideration. I've been thinking quite a lot about that, whether I'm going to be in or going to be out, and trying to work out the best reasons for both, from a consumer point of view, but also from, you know, an employee point of view, and from a country point of view. But I'm not going to go into that. You need to make your own mind up. But I did wonder whether or not the European laws that were already in British law, whether they could be repealed if we then exited from Europe. So would the TPD be an issue? I don't know. That question needs to be answered, I think. So, yes, I've had so many different devices, mods, tanks, cartos, refillable, not refillable. I've gone through the Cigalike challenge when I had that Cigalike. There was a 500 puff one, or so it said. I think it managed about 300 and something before it died. So there's been all sorts of what have you that have come through this office and come into my hands as such. The latest being, of course, the RX200, which is the last device I bought with the crown. And segueing quite nicely into that is I've got some juice in here. And this juice I was given by Dave Dawn a couple of weeks ago. And I think I mentioned it on last week's show, quite possibly. But anyway, it's called, if I grab it for you, MILFs Milk. Oh yes, when I'm feeling low and I want to have a little bit of a vape, I like to vape on a bit of MILFs Milk. Anyway, I did mention last week that it smells. Let me just open the bottle, because this is kind of an impromptu juicy. Yeah. It smells of strawberries. It smells of kind of strawberry milkshake, but the kind of smell I get is the smell of the medicine you used to get as a child. And if you had a cough or a cold, or an infection of some sort, you'd go to the chemist with your mum, and the chemist would get a little white bottle and it'd have powder in it, and they'd fill it up with distilled water and shake it about a bit, and you'd get this kind of red gloop. which smelt of strawberries, and that was this kind of antibiotic stuff, which tasted quite nice. But that's what it reminds me of. It's a very strange smell. Now, I did have this. I've got this, first of all, I've got it in the crown on an NI200 coil at 0.17. I did have it in this, which is the TFV4. I've not got it in it at the moment, and I'll tell you why. For some reason, when I came back from Scotland at the weekend, because I was up there last week, if you remember, this had leaked everywhere. It had just gone. The mod was covered. The bag that I had it in was covered. It had even got inside the battery compartment, so I had to give it a good clean, let it dry, and put it back together. Now, I refilled it yesterday, but I've refilled it with something else. I refilled it with this stuff, which is Muffin Man, which is also a heavy VG, and that is 3 milligram. The milfs milk is 6 milligram. So I did have in both. So I was using it in both devices just to see if a single coil NI would be any different to this a quad coil in here. And it was much of a muchness, I have to say. There was no real difference in flavour between the two devices. I was going to do this little bit of VT when I was in Scotland in my hotel, so I took my camera and I took my little tripod and I took a light with me and another microphone, and then I thought, there's going to be a lot of vapour, so I really don't want to set the fire alarm off in my room because I've not done it yet. I do vape when I'm up in Scotland in the hotels, but I am considerate and I don't exhale huge plumes when I'm in the room, because I don't particularly want to have to then go and explain myself and be told I can't do it anymore because I set the fire alarm off once. So if I don't set it off at all, everything's good, everything's golden, everything's gravy, and as will.i.am would say, everything is dope. You know what I'm saying? But yes, getting back to the milfs milk, let's have a little tug. Now, I had the air quite high open on that, and I've got it set at 480 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm just going to bump that up to 520. I've also got it set at 38 watts, so I'm going to set that up to 40. There we go. So that's now going to go up to 520, and it's going to start off at 40 watts, and it's still 0.17, and I've locked the coil in that. So what I did was I cleaned both devices, because both had been previously used, put them in the ultrasonic, which is the step, let them dry, put 2 brand new coils in, primed the coils, then filled the tanks, and I was vaping on both of these in the car with the window slightly open, so I didn't kind of fog my vision as I was driving. And then I was using another device in the hotel which doesn't produce as much vapour because of what I've said previously about not wanting to set the fire alarm off. So 520 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature it's going to get to. Starting off at 40 watts, 0.17, and I've got the air fully open. Fully open. White out. Now, flavour wise, it's got a bit of a sweetness, kind of on the palate, in the roof of the mouth. It's a bit sweet. It vaguely smells of strawberries in the vape. I wouldn't say it's the most strawberryest juice I've ever vaped on. Strawberry Fields, I think, is probably a little bit more flavoursome when it comes to the actual flavour of strawberries. But it's pleasant enough. Would I buy it again? Probably not. Because it hasn't really got the intense strawberry flavour that I would be looking for if I was going to vape on a strawberry vape. But at 6 milligram, at this setting, it's it's nice. It's perfectly acceptable. Gives me a decent hit because I'm doing lung inhaling. I'm not doing mouth to lung. So you can get away with such a lower nicotine strength of 6 milligram. I have mixed up some of this Muffin Man. This is 3, but I've made some 12 by mixing some up with some 75 milligram nicotine, just to try that. And this is the 3 milligram. The Muffin Man is rather pleasant. It's kind of apple and cinnamon. And I first tried it on this device, on the Crown, on an RX at Dave Dawn's house, which is why I then went and purchased a bottle. Now, it was £45 for that bottle, but you get 180 mils, so that is not bad if you work out how much you get. If you buy a 30ml bottle and it's 14 quid, 6 of those, it's a lot more money, isn't it? So, that wasn't bad. So I quite like that. The milfs milk is okay. Would I buy another bottle? No. Sorry. Anyway, so that was kind of a little bit about my vaping journey, and a little impromptu juicy on those 2 juices, the milfs milk and the Muffin Man. I have been Marco van Basten. I'm still going to be Marco van Basten for as long as I can keep going. I will be doing this kind of stuff. I'm going to carry on vaping. I've got absolutely no intention at all of stopping. No matter what the government throws in our way, I will not be giving up my pastime. I will not be giving up my use of nicotine. I will not be giving up at all. So, yes. And as I used to say on my YouTube videos, happy vaping. Peace out. There you go. That was a little bit about my 4-year journey, and a little bit about those 2 juices. Yes, the milfs milk. Now, I didn't purchase the first bottle of milfs milk, the half bottle that I was...
it was 90% full.
It was given to me by Mr. Dawn because he didn't like it. He said, "Here, try this, lad. I don't like it."
Didn't charge him for it. I didn't want any money. Didn't even ask for a handshake.
I tell you what, Dave, is when I come over to your house when I'm in Washington, it's a bit like going to me mum's, because whenever I leave my mum's house, she's got a bag of stuff and she says, "Here, take this." I don't know why she does it, but there you go. But yes, I usually leave your house with something.
Next time you come, you're getting a grand burn.
I just don't want any of your gluten-free bread. You can keep the gluten-free bread.
No, we're just not going there. Seriously, it's not even worth looking at all.
Anyway, talking about juice, we were watching chat as that was playing out, obviously, and Dan Boy had mentioned about mixing. What I suggest you do, Dan Boy, is go back and look at the old VTs that we've got on our channel, because I've done loads of mixing tutorial videos on the Vapor Scene shows that were, and also there was one a few weeks ago. In fact, I think it was our second show back, I think. So there's plenty of information out there. You can currently still only buy 75 milligram. That is the highest you can get in this country without a poisons license. So please don't buy any from abroad that is higher than that, because it's likely to be seized at customs. And really, you need to be knowing what you're doing if you're going to start using really strong liquid to start with. So what I suggest you do is go to a UK vendor and get something like a 54 milligram and start that way. But there are plenty of VTs in our back catalogue, and probably at some point we'll do some more. I mean, I mix mine up into 100ml bottles, into 30ml bottles, and a decent flavour I can even put into one of my other bottles, which is a 250ml bottle with a little thing on, for filling. If I've got a flavour that I like lots, but I don't tend to make them in too big of batches, because the taste changes over time, and if you don't vape that quick enough, 250 mils, then I know I'm not Dave Dawn. Dave Dawn will do that in a week, just like that.
5 days. 5 days.
So yes, that's what I suggest you do. Yes. If you would like some mixing tutorials done, you know what to do. You can always come onto our Facebook pages and request stuff. If you've got something you'd like us to look at or like us to do, you can also go onto our Facebook page and send us a little message. Mr. Dawn, over to you.
Yes, there are limits as to things that we will do. I just need to be clear about that. Somebody said, who was it that said it? I'll find it. Paul Wilkins. Does the MILF milk not taste like Milkman by One Hit Wonder? Milkman by One Hit Wonder. No, it doesn't. I like this. The strawberry in Milkman by One Hit Wonder is very, very low. Because I'm not keen on booty strawberry. I like real ones with chocolate on, preferably being fed to me by naked women. That's much the best way. I'll take naked men if they're good looking enough. That leaves you out, Marco. But no, it's way more strawberry, but it's false strawberry. It's like strawberry flavored rather than tasting of strawberries, if you say what I mean. First thing. Faux. Oh, faux. Oh, I say it. Oh, yes, aye. And on the other, look, again, I saw this, what are sweet nipples and unicorn puke and all the rest of it in terms of names of juices. That's, where that's come from? That's come from the ants because they don't want us to say what they taste of. I mean, if you were to give somebody a juice like that one Marco's been tasting, to some people, if it was cherry, they might say, oh, that tastes of tunes. But you couldn't call it tunes, could you? Otherwise, they'd be hell on. So they've got to find a name for it. It's just trying to make things more adult because apparently cherries appeal to kids, strawberries appeal to kids, bubblegum appeals to kids, chocolate appeals to kids. But, well, milfs milk might as well when I think about it. Anyway, there it is. Yes, it'll alienate a few people, and I don't like it anyway. So, frankly, who gives a damn?
Yes, okay. Wise, I guess. Yeah, I don't think, there are some juices out there that are called, say, cinnamon grahams or Tootsie Rolls, and those kind of vendors shouldn't be using registered trademarks for something that it's not. Obviously, that's against the law in the various countries. And this kind of segues quite nicely into what I'm doing tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to visit a juice factory over in Stockport. Yes. And I'll be bringing you that report on next week's show. So it should be rather interesting. Stockport, aye.
Is that Stockport in Cheshire?
Near Manchester.
Stockport in Cheshire. Are you going over the M62?
I'm not actually. I think I might go the old way. Yes, over Snakes Pass. And it depends what the weather's like. Because if the weather's a bit hit and miss, then I won't go there because it can be a bit treacherous, them there roads. Wow. So I might have to go over the highest motorway in England, which is the M62, which is a pain in the backside at the best of times, I have to say, which is why I'm not going to leave the house till gone 10. Yes, because I'm on holiday from work this week, so I could kind of leisurely amble after
Matt, he's swearing again, Matt. Matt, he's swearing again.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't have the budget to hand.
Yes, I'm on holiday this week, so I'm doing some other stuff at the end of the week. But tomorrow, I'm off to a juice factory to show you how they do it
in Stockport in Cheshire.
By strange coincidence, Marco, I too am off to a juice factory at the end of the week.
Where are you going?
I'm going to that pretty well-known place that has a moustache in the logo and a base in Swansea.
Ah.
Yes, I've heard actually that it's quite decadent there.
It is. Yeah. And there are vapours. Yeah.
Yes. Are there any electrolytes in their juices?
No. There are some lovely electrolytes in this lovely drink.
I know some rotting shark's been found in some before. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Some what?
Rotting shark.
Oh, just don't go there either.
No, never again. No,
definitely not.
I smelt that.
And Dan Boy says it's crazy that he's going to a factory tomorrow. Do you know I've had this booked for 2 months? I've had this appointment booked for 2 months so I could go in and film. And then at some point I will be going down to the area that is Londinium and filming at another juice producing company as well. But I shall let you know when that happens. Yes, and that's about it, isn't it, Matt?
I'd say so, but since we're just talking about what we're doing, Dave, what's happening on Thursday?
That's a good question. Normally, I put Thursday's show together, or the running order, over the weekend. But this weekend, with being up in Scotland, I have not yet done that. There will be a report from Glasgow that will run for quite a while. Mark Crew will have video for us. I have recently, as in yesterday, purchased a Kanga K-Box 200, which has what it is written along the top, just in case you forget while you're having a talk on it. So, you know, if somebody says, what's that you're vaping on, you can go, it's a K-Box 200. That's what you can do. Interesting piece of kit is this, because apparently, says in the instructions, and I have it working in this mode at the moment, it does nichrome and canthal in temperature control mode, which is interesting because I ain't seen anything that does that properly yet. So we shall be having a look at that. My mate Keith is coming in, and I'm going to surprise him. I'm going to give him some.
And apparently Dave's just gone very quiet there, and we've lost his audio.
Yes. I heard that, or rather, I didn't hear that. But he had a shiny thing, and he was showing us like that. Shiny.
It will
thing.
have to remain a surprise for both us and Keith. Seamless.
He's teasing us. He's teasing us. That's what he's doing.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Should we say good night?
Yes, I think so.
I don't know if Dave can say good night because he's gone quiet. No.
He's lost. He's gone.
Well. So we'll see you on Thursday.
Yes, and we will see you next week.
Yes.
Thank you, bye.
Honestly, this bloody stupid